Good morning, Scallywag Spoo here with another mindless drivel. Hope you guys had a great Memorial Day. I know I did. Got to spend some time with my daughter, and well, that's always a good time. Today, we're going to be reviewing a movie that I haven't even seen yet. Godzilla King of the Monsters. So right off the bat, you might be asking yourself, how can you possibly review a movie you haven't even seen? And that is an excellent question. So it isn't so much a review as much as it is a dive into how all movie critics suck. Present review excluded, of course. So what am I talking about? Well, very simple. Let's look back at 2014 for a second. Personally, I absolutely loved Gareth Edwards' 2014 Godzilla. Even though Godzilla only had about 11 minutes worth of screen time, those 11 minutes were just absolutely epic enough to get my adrenaline flowing and let me leave the theater with the exact feeling that I wanted to leave the theater with. Now, having said that, there is the opposite side of the same coin, which is the human aspect of the movie. Now, I firmly believe that if you're going to make a monster movie, then the human story is, well, not important. And that is where the 2014 Godzilla movie fell a little flat. The bulk of the movie was the human story, and, well, it was boring and unnecessary and just blech. Now, I'm not saying that it was badly acted or that, anything of the sort. Simply that there was too much of it. I like Bryan Cranston, I like Aaron Taylor Thomas, and they put on a decent enough story, I guess. Had they made the exact same movie without having monsters in it at all, it would have been an enjoyable enough movie. A little slow perhaps, a little too much padding, a little too cliche, but enjoyable enough. But my point in going this direction with this review is that at the time, the critics actually gave the movie quite a bit of a hard time, saying that the characters were a little flat, the story was slow, basically the same things that I just said. But with all of those things in mind, the movie still has a Rotten Tomatoes score somewhere in the mid-70s, labeling it as certified fresh. Now we fast forward to 2019, and this most recent movie, Godzilla King of the Monsters. Somehow, surprisingly, I have managed to watch a number of reviews on this movie without having a single huge spoiler thrown out there. And everyone seems to be saying the same things, except for the big Hollywood critics. And what they're saying is that this movie is the exact flip-flop of 2014, in the fact that the human aspect of the story is quite limited and small, and the monster aspect is freaking huge. Apparently right off the bat, in the first few minutes of the movie, we get a huge, grand scale monster scene that shows us exactly what direction this movie is going to take. And from what everyone is saying, it's definitely a scene that will get your blood flowing. So this raises the question, why would I bother making this video? All of our classic characters from the first Godzilla movie are back with Ken Watanabe, and then the Monarch characters, they're all back. This is taking place a few years after the first one, as well as several new characters like Vera Farmiga, or however you say her name, and Stranger Things Millie Bobby Brown, as well as a few others. Apparently, Vera Farmiga's character has created some sort of device that will actually let these people communicate with the kaiju. And this leads to some sort of awakening that is bringing the new monsters up from their long slumber. Now, we already know that we're getting Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, but overall there are about 15, 16, 17, something like that kaiju in this film.
17 and counting.
And tons and tons and tons of Easter eggs. So fanboys like me will be quite pleased. One review in particular even goes as far as to say that the stealth ship that Monarch is using, a ship called the Argo, is in fact a cool enough ship that it's almost a character itself. He even goes on record saying that it's the first time he's ever watched a movie where he actually cares what happens to a vehicle. And while spoilers do not bother me whatsoever, there is one scene that I'm extremely curious about, and that being the very final scene of the film. Now, while none of the reviews that I've watched had spoilers involved with them, they all agreed that the final scene in the film is one that is every monster movie fan's dream come true. I have no idea what that scene is, but I cannot wait to find out. And I'm assuming that it will have something to do setting up Kong versus Godzilla, which is coming out next year, which is just simply too far away. I mean, I was stressing about 4 months until It Chapter 2 comes out, and well, this is a whole year from now. Or more. Now, of course, the 2014 Godzilla was made by Gareth Edwards, who also did Monsters, a couple of other movies, and I'm a big fan of his. I love his work. He's a very fine director. But King of the Monsters was made by Michael Dougherty. And if you're not familiar with Michael Dougherty, he actually made 2 of my favorite movies, Trick or Treat and Krampus. And if you haven't seen either of those films, or both of those films, stop this video right now, go watch them, and then come back, because you're missing out. So we're far enough into this now that I suppose I should probably get to a point. And the point being that currently, Godzilla King of the Monsters is sitting at a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. A movie about which every review I have seen is absolutely raving, is currently certified rotten. Why? And the reason for this, the reason why critics are tearing this movie apart, is because the human aspect of the film is too small and convoluted. Remember what I just said about it's a movie called Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and how the human aspect doesn't matter? It's not called a bunch of people doing things and, oh look, there's a monster. It's called Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I mean, you could make a movie that doesn't even have a single human being in it, and I'm sure it would still completely demolish the box office. You see, and I'm speaking to you, Mr. Hollywood critic guy person, when you go to see a monster movie, you're going to see big monster, smash thing, fight other monster, things break, go roar, boom. You don't go to see it for a story about a family with an estranged dad, and we want to try to rekindle things, and it all just happens to be taking place, this emotional, heartbreaking story happens to be taking place while giant monster go boom. Because otherwise we find ourselves just saying, get these people out of the way, Godzilla needs to smash some stuff. But it just goes to show you that Hollywood critics can simply never be happy. They will always find the flaw in the best things. I have the feeling, I'm making the prediction now, that when the movie actually comes out and the general public goes to see it, the Rotten Tomatoes score is going to skyrocket. Because like I said, every single review that I have seen on this, and I've watched several, none of them had bad things to say. Or the closest bad thing that they did have to say was that the human aspect of the story was a little convoluted and it was a bit flimsy. But they also understood that those were the side characters to Big Monster Go Boom. And this is what happens when you hit the wrong zoom button. Look into my eyes. I don't know if you can hear that, but my daughter is back in the bedroom watching YouTube playing a Alvin and the Chipmunks version of Old Town Road. Which, by the way, is it just me or does it not sound like he's saying, gonna take my horse to the hotel room? So, what's my point here? What's the purpose of making this video? I don't know. I just found it humorous that back in 2014, the critics were all about the characters in the film, and almost like Godzilla and the Mutos weren't even necessary to the film. And now their problem with a movie that went the exact opposite direction of that, where it's all monsters and, oh yeah, by the way, there's some people too, that they're still saying that we need more from the people. Now, once I've actually seen the film, I'm sure I'll probably do a full-on review with spoilers and all that good stuff in there, but I saw this critic stuff popping up over the last few days, and I simply couldn't help but laugh at it. So I had to put it out there so that you guys can laugh at it too. Or at the very least, laugh at me laughing about it. Whatever works for you. But overall, the grand thing to take from this is that every review that I have seen says that this movie is exactly what we wished it would be, that it is grand in scale, that there are tons of monsters, that there is tons of action with those monsters, and there is suspense, and the cinematography is great, and the effects are phenomenal, and the music is wonderful, and things are just awesome. So in other words, it's, you know, it's pretty good. But definitely something to look forward to, and I cannot wait to see this at the IMAX. I will be going to that as soon as humanly possible. But I actually have to see Brightburn first because reasons. Speaking of seeing things in the theater, I actually just saw Detective Pikachu. Took my daughter to see that the other day and absolutely loved it. If you would like to see a review on that, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, that's going to kind of wrap things up, guys. Like I said, just sort of a rant, if you will, about critics and what people are saying about the early reviews of Godzilla King of the Monsters. So hey, it's awesome because, well, we knew that already because it's Godzilla. So have any thoughts? Drop them in the comments below. Got an idea for an episode, something you'd like to see me cover? Drop that as well. As always, continue to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And as long as you're out here on the internet, jump over to www.geekycool.com. We have partnered up with them to kind of, well, do this thing together. It's a bit of a sponsorship, if you will. You got articles, you got videos, you got movie reviews, you got basically the same stuff that we do here, just, well, on a different website. It's all things nerd, just like we do it here at Scallywag, so definitely jump over and check out that site as well. I'm actually going to be doing some articles for them in addition to posting my videos over there. There's also going to be some exclusive videos that will be popping up just on that site that won't be available on YouTube, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Also, there is an official announcement coming up very soon, but the weekend of July the 19th, I'm going to be at That Geeky Con in Harrison, Arkansas. It's a brand new con, first year there. I will actually be helping to judge the cosplay contest for that convention, so please stop by and say hello. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm losing my voice because, well, I mowed the yard today and my throat has just been so dry since then because, well, it's hot and it's humid. Ridiculously so outside. And, But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on Friday! Thanks for watching.